infinity through real life application and involving the square root function. Now before we solve anything, let me just uh, tell you uh, that if we have the square root, what does it mean? That it means that the power of any function will be half, right? So if you want to remove the square root, you can write the variable or the function which is inside it with a power of half. Now what does it mean? Okay, so if we have x square, right? So outside the bracket we can write it as x. If we have x to the power of 4, we can write it as x to the power of 2. Now, if somebody wants to ask me that how, so I can tell you that if x square is written, without the square root, I can write it as a power half. So what is the half of the 2? So half of the 2 is 1. So that is how we got x power 1. It means if I have x power 6, so what is the half of the 6? It will be x cube. Which means that if I have the square root, inside the square root whatever the power is, when I remove the square root, I will write the half of that power. So if I have x to the power of 12, so the half of the 12 is 6. So without the square root, I will write x power 6. So x to the power 20, it would be x to the power of 10 and so on. So if we go from square root to without square root, we make the powers half. Now what if I have only x power 8, okay, and I want to write something inside the square root. So without the square root, if I want to jump with the square root, it means I will double the power, right? Over here, I half the power from square root to without square root, and from without to the square root, I will double the power. It means 8 plus 8, 16. So if I have x square, what do I write inside the square root? It will be double the 2. So 2 plus 2, 4. If I have x power 3, so double the 3. So 3 plus 3, 6. If I have x power 20, so double the 20, it will be x power 40. If I have already x power 12, so double the 12, 12 plus 12, 24. This is what you have to understand the questions which we are going to solve now. Now look at the question. So let's start with the easy question. I have to find out the limit x approaches to infinity with a function square root x power 2 plus 6x over 4x square minus 9. Okay, what have you seen? That both the functions which are in the numerator and the denominator both carry this square root. So no worries at all. Okay, both has the square root. So what do? You only focus on the denominator, take the variable with the highest degree, and after that divide the whole function, all the terms of the function with this power. So right now I am writing the question as it is. Now in the denominator, the variable with the higher power is x square. So I will divide all the terms of the question with x square. After doing this, I will solve my question. So x square cancel, so I will get 1. Now I told you before also, x up, x square down. So I have to subtract the power from the bigger to the lesser. So here it is power 2, here it is 1. So 2 minus 1 will give me 1, but the position will stay for the new one will be stay with the position of the power 2. On the top I will write 1. Okay, so it will give us 6 over x. X square cancel, so it will gives us 4 minus 9 over x square. Once the question is solved, you just apply the limit. So I will write here square root 1 plus 6 over infinity, 4 minus 9 over infinity square. Now I know that the number over infinity is equals to 0. So I will write now 1 plus 0 over 4 minus 9, number over infinity is 0. So square root of 1 over 4, which gives me 1 over 2 as my answer. It would be plus minus, of course, because the square root is up, square root is down. But with the positive infinity, we will write only the answer with the plus side. Okay. Now what if I have a question like this, in which in the numerator there is a square root, but in the denominator the square root is not there. So what if I have somewhere the square root but somewhere without the square root? So in this case, the first thing is I will focus on my denominator, and I can see that the highest power of with the variable is x, right? So x has power 1. But on the top I have the square root. So what is if without the square root it has a x power 1. So if I want to write something inside the square root, so what shall I write? I should write x power 2. Do you get it why? But the reason is that without the square root we have the power 1. If I want to write something inside the square root, then definitely it has to be x power 2 rather than x power 1. Reason is that x power 1 is without square root. So let's see here. I am writing first of all the question. So here 2x minus 1 and here with the square root, right? X square minus 1. Now look at this. I have the highest variable with the highest power is x, power 1, where without square root. So in the denominator, I don't have the square root. So I will write here x, I will write here x. But in the numerator, I have a square root. So I cannot write x power 1. I will write x square. Why? Because inside the square root, I have to write x square. Close. Now write it down. So x square cancel. So it is 1 minus 1 over x square. In the denominator, x and x cancel. So 2 minus 1 over x. Solving finish, apply the limit. So I have square root 1 minus 1 over infinity square divided by 2 minus 1 over infinity. Square root 1 minus 1 over infinity means 0. 2 minus 1 over infinity means 0. So in the final as a final answer, I will get 1 over 2. Let's try this question. Now here you can see only focus on the denominator. What is the highest variable? Yani variable with the highest degree is x square. But can you see that denominator has the x square under the square root? So let's find out. Okay, so square root x square is in the denominator. But if I want to write without the square root, why without the square root? Because in the numerator I don't find any square root. So it will be x. Okay, let's try to solve it. So how can we solve it? 5x square plus 2 I will write as it is, and in the denominator I will write x square plus 3. Now whenever I write the x is under the square root, I will write x square. So in the denominator I will write x square. But in the numerator I will write x. Why? Because I don't find any square root in the numerator. Okay, now solve it. So let's try to solve it. X square cancel. Now x square on the top, x in the denominator. Okay, so it will gives us 5x. 2 over x as it is. Square root x square give us 1 plus 3 over x square. Apply the limit. It will be 5 times infinity plus 2 over infinity over square root 1 plus 3 over infinity. 5 times infinity will gives us infinity. 2 over infinity, 0. Square root 1 plus 3 over infinity, 0. Now infinity up, down a number. So it will gives you infinity. Now here cubic root, but the good thing is that everything is inside the cubic root, right? So everything is inside. So no need to worry. No need to worry. So the highest variable will be our x square. So we will write here our numerator. Everything will be divided by x square. Now write the denominator and everything divided by x square. Simplify. We will write limit x approaches to infinity cubic root of. So 2 over x square as it is. Okay. 3x over x square gives us 3 over x because x square is bigger. 2 minus 1 is 1. Where we will write? We will write in the denominator. X square cancel. So I will have 5. In the denominator, I will have 1 over x square plus x square cancel. So only 8. Apply the limit. So wherever x or x square, you will write the infinity. The rest of the numbers stay as it is. Infinity square also means infinity. Okay, so if you are not writing the square on the infinity, no issue. 2 over infinity is 0. 3 over infinity is 0. Minus 5. Don't forget to write the cubic root. When we apply the limit, we don't write the limit symbol. 1 over infinity is 0 and here 8. So the answer is minus the cubic root of minus 5 over 8. What if we have anything with negative infinity? Remember, everything stays the same when we have the negative infinity. The only thing we will do before applying the limit, we will put a negative sign near the square root. Why? Because the square root always gives us a positive or a negative answer. So on the left hand side, when we are try to open, we always take the function with the negative sign, right? Because the square root could gives us the positive answer or a negative answer, same like a absolute value. So whenever we are reading the x from the left hand side, we have to bring a negative sign before the square root. So the simple thing is here negative infinity. The rest, first you do the same thing. Perform everything same. Just write a negative sign because we have this negative infinity when you solve the question. Okay, and when you write inside this thing, inside when you apply the limit, you will rather than writing the negative infinity, you will apply as a positive infinity. Okay, so the denominator's highest degree, variable with the highest degree is 1. So x. But when I write with the square root, it will gives me x square. So in the numerator, I have a square root. So due to that reason, I will divide by the x square. But in the denominator, I don't have the square root. So I will divide with the x. Okay. So let's see here. Okay, first of all, I will solve, and since it is negative infinity, I will write the negative before the square root. So I will get 5 minus 2 over x square, and here x and x cancel, so 1 plus 3 over x. Now when you apply the limit, don't write the negative sign because we already have written over here a negative sign. So square root 5 minus 2 over infinity square means infinity, here negative here, 1 plus 3 over infinity. So the above one will give me 5 minus 2 over infinity is 0 and 1 plus 3 over infinity is 0. So the answer after that will be negative square root of 5. So the main idea is that whenever you have a negative infinity sign, the first thing is that you will write the negative sign before the square root to avoid the confusion. And when you apply the limit, you will write the positive infinity. Now, another thing which you have to understand, that if I have the square root sign, I write square root variable with the square root, and without the square root whatever the variable with the power coming without the square root. What does it mean? It means, look at the focus at the denominator. The highest power is x square, right? But you can see there is a square root also, right? So we will write square root of x square. So when I divide the whole thing with the denominator, I will write here x square. But in the numerator, I don't have any square root. So the square root of x square is equals to x, due to which I will divide x in the numerator. After doing this thing, what we will do, we will simplify. X and x cancel. So first I will write as it is 2 over x minus 1 divided by minus outside 7 over x square as it is. X square cancel and 6 left. Negative 6 left. Now apply the limit, but when we apply the limit, we already have calculated that negative here. So no need to write negative infinity, only write the positive infinity. Okay, so 2 over infinity is 0 minus 1 minus 7 over infinity is 0 minus 6. So we will get negative 1 over negative. Solution is negative 6. By mistake it has to be positive 6. Okay, so 0 positive 6, here positive 6. I wrote the wrong thing, means in the question it was positive, by mistake I wrote a negative sign. So negative negative cancel, we will get 1 over square root of 6, or you can calculate with the help of calculator. So I think that this concept is almost clear to you. Try to solve these questions yourself. Just a hint that in the first question, everything is covering with the cubic root. So no need to write anything outside or inside. So what is the, let's see here, what is the variable with the highest power in the denominator? It's x to the power of 7. And we will consider it x to the power of 7 only. Why? Because the whole question is covering with the cubic root. So we will divide our numerator with x power 7 and denominator also with x power 7. So let's try to solve this question. We will get cubic root of 3, x power 7 cancel. Now x power 5 divided by x power 7. So 7 minus 5 will gives us x square. We will write down because 7 is bigger. From the bigger power we are subtracting the lower power. So the first is 1 over x power 7. Then here x power 7 cancel. So it will be 2. Now we will get cubic root of, apply the limit. And remember, number over infinity will gives us only infinity. On the infinity, if you are not writing the power, even in your college board exam, there is no issue. So 0 plus 2. This is 2. So answer is cubic root of 3 over 2. Solve the other question yourself. Okay, so for this question you can see that there is a negative infinity also and there is a square root also. So as we said that first of all we will only focus on the denominator. So in the denominator, what do we have? In the denominator we have x cube, right? And x cube is written in the denominator without the square root. Okay, so without the square root, so I am writing it here to show you. But in the numerator, you can see there is a square root. So when we will divide, so x cube inside the square root can be written as x power 6. So let's try to finish it up. How do we write? Here x cube minus 1 and here x power 4 minus 1. So without the square root, we will write x cube, and inside the square root, we will write x power 6. Then upper limit, or not upper limit, the bigger limit, bigger power minus lower power. So x power 6 is big. So we will write on the at the place of x power 6, 6 minus 4 is 2. On the top, nothing left. It means 1 left. Then 1 over x power 6. X cube cancel. So it will give us 1 minus 1 over x cube. Some of the students, they make a mistake and they do not write this one. That makes your answer wrong. So remember, 2 divided by 2 gives us 1. Similarly, x divided by x gives us 1. X square divided by x square gives us 1, and so on. Okay, once it is done, apply the limit. We will write now. Here it was minus infinity to, I told you that put the minus before the square root. So we put this minus here, and now apply the limit. We write on the infinity powers, or we don't write. It doesn't affect our answer. But 1 over infinity is what? Is 0. 1 over infinity is 0, and 1 over infinity is 0. 0 divided by 1 is 0, and 0 is a neutral number, so no need to write negative or positive. Now look at this question. Focus here. What have you focused here? That I cannot apply the limit directly because I have to make it rationalization first. Why? Because later on you will study that infinity minus infinity, it is actually an indeterminate form which cannot be determined without solving or applying the L'Hopital's rule, which we have not yet studied. Okay, so I would suggest whenever there is a function with a square root and something outside the square root, better before applying the limit, rationalize. So how to rationalize? Multiply or divide with the conjugate of the function. So in order to write the conjugate of the function, we change the sign here. Now we know if we have a plus b and a minus b, we can write it as a square minus b square. So memorize the steps of the rationalization with the concept, of course. So first term with the power 2, then the second term with the power of 2, and in between we will always write the negative sign. Now denominator, we will not do anything because this is alone. Now square root and square cancel. We will get x square plus 3 minus x power 2 gives us x square divided by x square plus 3 plus x. Now x square and x square cancel out. So what is left when it is cancelled out? It will be left with only 3 over x square plus 3. So let's see here. Here we have 3 over, I forgot to write the limit, 3 over square root of x square plus 3 plus x. Now what is the highest power of the denominator? It's inside the square root x square, and outside the square root is x. So you can, whatever the terms which are inside the square root, you divide by the square x square. The term which is outside the square root divided by the x. Now solve it. X square cancel. Solve it and write it in the simplified form. So we will get 3 over x all upon x square over x square 1 plus 3 over x square, and x cancel, so it will be plus 1. Now apply the limit. So when we apply the limit 3 over infinity over square root 1 plus 3 over infinity square and plus 1. So 3 over infinity is 0 divided by 1 plus 0 plus 1. Anything multiplied by 0, the answer is 0. So remember, whenever we have only the square root and you have the chance to take the conjugate of that square root before solving, better to solve by rationalizing technique. Let's try this question. So take the conjugate. So we will write x power 6 plus 5. This minus will be changed into plus and then x cube divided by the same number, same terms what you write in the numerator, divide them also. Now the formula a plus b, a minus b, it is equals to a square minus b square. So first term with the power 2 and second term with the power 2 because the first and these are same and this is same. So first term with the square root x power 6 plus 5. Second term is x cube. Now denominator is written only one time, so no need to do anything, just write it down. Square and square root cancel out. So what do we get? We get x power 6 plus 5 minus, now we have the exponent property that power with the power can be multiplied. So x power 6. And the denominator will stay as it is. X power 6 cancel out. Write down what is left. That is 5 over and the denominator write down as it is. Now focus on the denominator. The highest power inside the square root is x to the power of 6. But when we write outside, it will become x cube. So divide every term. I'm doing it here, but you write one more step. So now look at this. I didn't write x power 6. I should not write x power 6 here. The reason is that it has to be x cube because it is outside the square root. So we have 5 over x cube over this cancel. We will have 1 plus 5 over x power 6 plus 1. Now apply the limit and you will see the answer will be 0.